Coming up today on Houston Life, honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Meet the mother-daughter duo emphasizing the importance of Dr. King's dream, how it lives in each and every one of us, and a reminder to lead by example. And we'll chat with the local podcasters sharing Black history to a new generation and what they want people to know about Dr. King on this important holiday. Plus, a frank discussion with Pastor RUDY RASMUS on the current state of the nation and how we move forward together. All that and more happening today on Houston Life.
Is that for real?
Live from Studio B at KPRC Channel 2. Houston Life starts now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Houston Life on this Monday, January 18th. It is MLK Day. Courtney Savala, how you doing there at home?
You know, we are doing well. We are surviving, getting through all of this craziness, but it's good to see you on this Monday.
It's great to see you as well. And I'm thinking back to last year on MLK Day, and little did we know at that point in January what was coming, what was ahead in 2020, this pandemic that has seen so many things, good and bad. The death of George Floyd, of course, last year we talked a lot about on Houston Life. And I think it's been quite a year of reflection. It's been quite eye-opening, I think, for many of us. And I think if we've learned anything over the past year, it's that we still have a lot more work to do than many of us ever thought.
You know, you are so right, Derek. I mean, I think a year ago we would talk about continuing the conversation of being nice, being equal. And boy, there is a lot of work to be done. You know what I think is so great is, you know, my kids, Connor's in 7th grade, AJ's in 4th grade, and I think our schools do such a great job of incorporating MLK verbiage, literature, his life, his legacy into the classroom. And some way along the line, maybe as adults, we don't really pay attention to it or remember it. And what's so cool is I did this a couple days ago, is if you go online, you know, everything's online, and his famous speech, the I Have a Dream speech, listen to it in its entirety. Put your phone down, sit in front of your computer, close your eyes. It's only 17 minutes. And it'll transcend you. It's not like you were sitting in 1963. It's like he's talking to us at 2021. And it's really incredible. I did this with the boys. We sat down and listened to it. You hear the applause, you hear laughter, you hear cheers, but then you get chills listening to his words. And his words are penetrating to 2021, 58 years later. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, they are
right?
So applicable today. It's interesting, too, perspective, right? As I've gotten older and as we've seen the world sort of devolve, you know, I'm an optimist, I think. Truly, in my heart, I believe in people's potential. I believe that when I look at people, that I just sort of see like what we could be. Oh, wow, it could be so great. And I feel like right now we are in this very frustrating point where people have sort of been conditioned to believe that anyone who is different, anyone who disagrees with you, anyone who just doesn't see the world the way you see it, they're wrong, they're stupid, they should be fired, they're the enemy. I mean, the press is the enemy. We need to leave that in the past, because differences are what make us stronger. And when we can sort of lay them all out on the table, I think we see that we are all so much more alike than we are different. When I learned about Dr. King growing up in school, it seemed like a very long time ago. And I think for so many people, we knew maybe that racism still existed out there. I think many of us wanted to believe that it was a thing of the past. But it's just very bizarre to me that we live in a time when racism is not only alive and well, it is in your face out there on Facebook, on Twitter, all over social media. And we've had some very difficult conversations on this show on Houston Life people have written in and they've said things like white lives matter and you don't see me protesting in the streets. And we've called people out on that. And I'm sorry if that's an uncomfortable conversation, but you don't have to be outwardly hatefully racist, but the things that people are reposting that do have thinly veiled racism in them, I mean, yeah, we all have freedom of speech. It's First Amendment. You can say and you can post whatever you want to post on your Facebook page. But when your grandkids come to you and they say, hey, Grandma, wow, that was actually really something that you retweeted. Why did you do that? I hope those conversations are happening. And again, I believe that people are good. I believe that there are a lot of good people who have chosen to consume bad information online rather than listening to facts and reason and science. And I hope that through these difficult conversations, we can emerge on the other side better people, better for it.
You are so right. And I'm so curious. I love our show today. We have so many great guests on our show to have this conversation, from Dr. Shana Lewis, of course, Pastor Rudy. We love him. I think a lot of people, Derek, quite honestly, when you're talking about these hateful things that people are kind of spewing, and before, people wouldn't really put it out in the open. Now, we don't care about hurting other people's feelings or being nasty to each other. And I think it might sort of boil down to is that change is scary for a lot of people, right? Changing the way you think, changing your friends, changing the way that you live your life is scary for a lot of people. And sometimes it's easier to not change than it is to change. And I think that has a lot to do with maybe people's mindset, because we live in a world now where other people's feelings don't matter, right? We could be nasty because that's what we do now, and it's unacceptable. And I'm really hoping that change can happen. Like you, I'm not quite as optimistic as you are. I've changed a little bit. I guess maybe that's just my reporter in me. Sort of the glass is, half empty sometimes. But I really hope that we can. This is a very, very large mountain to climb. But I think a lot of it has to do with fear of change. I don't, maybe I'm up in the night here, but I think a lot of people are afraid of change.
I think that's true. I think that people get very comfortable, and when we talk about things like white privilege, again, something that a lot of people have posted on Facebook. Oh, well, I worked hard for what I have. If you, it's just, if you are not hungry for equality, and if you are not hungry for change and for equal rights, maybe it's because you are a little bit blinded by the privilege you've experienced. A lot of folks don't like these history lessons that, if you were a black person in many parts of the United States, you could not own property. It was illegal. This idea of generational wealth and employment opportunities and educational opportunities, that is a real thing. And again, the idea that there are people out there and communities out there, whole groups of people who, the moment they arrive on planet Earth, it is like all of these forces are working against them. That is not fake news. That's the reality. And it's not discounting that anyone else's lives do not matter. When these people are posting like white lives matter, no one ever said that white lives didn't matter. But there is a movement when people are saying like, oh, well, you don't see me out marching in the streets for my rights. Well, because you didn't have to, people, okay? You don't have to be a person of color to acknowledge and recognize the inequality that still exists in the world. You do not need to be a woman to recognize that women still have the deck stacked against them and get paid less and have more responsibilities in many cases than men do, who earn more money still to this day, 2021. So the facts are out there, and I'm sorry if that's uncomfortable for a lot of people. I've had some very interesting conversations with my extended family, because we all have that crazy uncle who's posting conspiracy theories online. But at some point, I hope enough will be enough, and that we can all come together and be nice. And sometimes I get very worked up and passionate because it just baffles me that good people, that smart, lovely, church-going, educated people choose to listen to all of this conspiracy theory noise, thinly veiled or sometimes just blatantly racist, online, instead of choosing to choose good and to choose equality. But hopefully today we can have some of these conversations and we can leave this hour feeling elevated a bit. How does that sound?
I think it sounds great. I'm good. We do need to be lifted up.
We need to be lifted up, and differences, again, I don't think differences are bad. There is nothing to me more satisfying than when I can sit down with someone who has a totally different life experience, a totally different viewpoint than I do, and they can help me learn something new. They can help open up my eyes to an experience that I haven't had, but that they've had. And I think, again, sharing those differences makes us stronger and makes us better. It's a good thing. Disagreeing is the only way we move forward. If we were all the same, it would be boring and we would stagnate.
There'd be no conversation if we were all the same.
Amen to that. Okay, well, this is just the beginning. Courtney Zavala, I love you so much. It's great to see you there at home. I wish you were next to me on the couch, but soon our friend Joe Sam will join us on the couch for a conversation about Dr. King's legacy, how we can all learn from his words. Plus, Lauren Kelly is chatting with students from Sam Houston State University who are currently on an incredible trip honoring civil rights. That's when Houston Life returns in just 2 minutes.
Welcome back to Houston Life. I'm Courtney Zavala at home. Derek Shore is in studio. And of course, our Joe Sam is joining us now. Joe, it's great to see you, especially, as we continue this conversation today on MLK Day. And what I was talking about is taking a moment and actually listening to the I Have a Dream speech. It's 17 minutes long. And if you think about it and you listen to it and put yourself down, it's hard to believe that it's 2021 because the words in 1963 are translating to today.
Absolutely. And if you look, Courtney, at the audience that we saw when he was doing these speeches, there was a mixture of different people within those audiences too. These people were out there fighting for those rights just as we are doing today. So we saw all different races within those crowds really listening to those messages. And I was saying earlier, I grew up not knowing who Dr. King was. I would always see his portrait on the side of our portraits in our family, Courtney and Derek. And I thought he was one of the members of our family. And my grandmother came to tell me who he was, what his legacy was about, what he stood on. And I started watching those speeches, like you mentioned, I Had a Dream speech and all the other speeches that he's done. And I really started to get emotional listening to these speeches. And I still get emotional today. And as I learned that he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee back in 1968, that really took me for a loop, that this man who was fighting for peace and equality and just really wanting people to treat each other fairly had to be killed for what he was about and for just doing something good. And it baffled me, it shocked me, and it still shocks me today. And I get really emotional talking about it. I'm starting to get shaky right now talking about this. But I want people to understand the education behind it all, really educating yourself about what you can do to make this a better world, not just for yourself and your families, but for all these families out here. Now, I think until we start to educate ourselves, nothing's going to change.
That is so well said, Joe. And MLK, he was a genius. He started college at 15 years old. There are so many remarkable things he was able to accomplish during his life. Joe, I wonder, people probably often ask you, what have we learned from MLK, from Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy? Don't you sort of feel like over the last year, it's almost like this gigantic spotlight has been shining on the fact that there is so much we seem to have not learned from his legacy? Yeah,
it's important that we take a look at what's happening today and what happened back in 2020 with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and even years before that with Trayvon Martin and Alton Sterling, all of these people who had started these huge protests over civil rights and racial justice. It's important that we take a look at that and see what has Dr. King done. What was he saying in those speeches that can apply to what's happening today? And everything he was saying in those speeches applies to what we're seeing and what he wanted us to be. He talked about having a dream that one day we could all live in a world of peace, and we still have yet to do that. We still see a lot of police brutality happen. We talked about this several times before, and I believe that it's something that needs to be said whenever you're looking at what Dr. King stood on. And he wanted us to show respect to one another. And I think that's what people need to understand whenever we're talking about Dr. King and his legacy and what he believed to be a world of justice and peace.
I think Oscar agrees with everything Joe just said.
Exactly.
Right, Courtney?
And there is so much still to learn, and I think we can still learn from Dr. King's words. And he had so many other speeches, of course, besides his famous "I Had a Dream" speech. There were so many more, but we can learn so much from him.
Joe, I want to know what you think people could do a bit better, because obviously, I'm sure the events of the last year have been painful. We don't just, when you're out in the community, you know, now it's not just being out of the community. It's what we see on Facebook. It's what we hear on television, what people are tweeting about. That's got to hit home when people who are, again, I don't think that most people out there are just sort of outwardly racist. I think that it's the sweet person down the street who's maybe retweeting racist stuff without even really realizing why it's so offensive. So what do you make of what's transpired over the last year, and what's your message to people out there?
I want people to take the time to talk to one another. A lot of my friends, I have a lot of friends from different races, and we all sit down and we have a conversation with each other. We share messages, we share our backgrounds, our upbringing, and then they start to understand why certain words that they say may be offensive. They understand why certain things that they do may be offensive to another race. And we then come together to find common ground and how to respect each other and how to treat one another. So talking to people, it's simple. It's something that's really, really simple to do, but it's so effective when reaching for that goal of peace and equality for all. Because a lot of people, I hear them say, well, I don't understand why they're so angry. I don't understand why they're out in the streets protesting. I don't understand why they're screaming Black Lives Matter. And all it takes is just talking to someone that's going through that situation. I've gone through it so many years. Even when I used to work in retail, I used to be stereotyped. And it wasn't until that person had a conversation with me until they felt as if I wasn't a threat. So I understand when some people say they feel as if they're threats and, oh, I'm afraid of this person because of the way they look. And it's all about just talking to somebody to break down those walls and break down those barriers. So I would hope that people can do that, especially as we're talking about Dr. King today and what he wanted us to be and what he wanted us to transpire to be.
And at the end of the day, we're all the same, right?
All the same, all in the same boat.
We go grocery shopping, we do the laundry. We're all just as boring as everyone else, right? Like, we are all the same, people. We are all the same. We want to hear from you. What have you learned from Dr. King's legacy? So on our Facebook page, as always, Courtney and Joe, we love hearing from our viewers. And you guys have got to know that so often these conversations, you bring us these great ideas, you share your experiences, and you are certainly part of our extended family. And we appreciate all of the posts and the comments and the messages. And again, on this MLK Day, I hope, Joe, what you just said, it is so simple, it's so basic. Just talk to each other. And more importantly, I think, equally important, listen to one another.
Absolutely. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Absolutely. Listening is always something simple that you can do to really take away what somebody is trying to tell you.
Amen to that. Well, when we come back, a guide to help parents chat with children about what's been happening in the world and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy as well. And still ahead, Pastor RUDY RASMUS shares how MLK's words can help heal the divide happening in our nation right now. We'll be right back.
Students from Sam Houston State University are currently traveling through civil rights history this month, and today they are in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting the former Lorraine Motel, which was the assassination site of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968. As they honor Dr. King, 2 students, victim studies major Ava Garrett and criminal justice major Jalen Bordeaux, are joining me today. So tell us a little bit about your experience on the trip so far.
Yeah, so as you know, like the LEAP Center, we take this trip. It's an inaugural trip, so it happens every 4 years. And so we are going around, we're going to different historical sites, art museums, and we even went to the Mississippi State Capitol, where we actually got to see the House of Representatives kind of in action, being that the legislation is in session down there. So we're just kind of getting a whole little tour of the history.
It's a firsthand experience of what is happening right now. I mean, Jalen, we learn about this in our textbooks and we study it, but to actually be on site where some of these events take place takes it to a whole nother level.
Yes, it's almost more like trying to put yourself in their shoes at the moment and just seeing, like, reading about what they experience day to day. It's just very eye-opening, and it is definitely bringing it to a whole new level.
Now, what about this trip so far? I know you've seen some wonderful sights. What has touched you the most?
Getting to even go out and like travel to new places. And like you said, it is so much different than just being in a classroom and learning from a textbook. We're getting like that hands-on experience to actually see the history and see the art like in front of us. My biggest like takeaway from this whole thing has just been, you know, just getting out there and just being away from the classroom. You can learn so much more.
The biggest lesson that I've learned is definitely being more positive, just trying to be more positive about life in college, especially during the time of COVID and with all the craziness around the presidency. It's like when you get to see and look back at what all the other people went through in your history and how you got here, how I was even able to be here today. It's really just like they went through way more trauma than we did. So I feel like just being more positive is a lesson that I learned.
And especially with these trying times, I'm sure it's just been a life-changing trip.
Yes.
From Memphis, Jalen and Ava, thank you so much for chatting with us on Houston Life. And we can't wait to have you in studio when things are safe. And you ladies have a happy new year, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Such wonderful, wonderful girls right there. Incredible way to honor Dr. King as well. So excited to see more pictures from their epic trip.
I would have loved to have done something like that as a student. Very nice, Lauren Kelly. Thanks so much for that. Well, as we honor the first MLK Day since a year like 2020, our next guest is stressing the importance of teaching our children how to respond in difficult times and reminding all of us to lead by example by what she calls the King principles. Licensed professional counselor Dr. Shayna D. Lewis and her daughter Nia are joining us now on Houston Life. Look at you two there. Snug as two bugs in a rug. You both look fantastic. Thanks for taking some time for us today. All right, so Nia, remind us, how old are you?
I am 11 years old.
11 years old, and when I was about your age, I remember being in school and learning about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I feel like, Dr. Shayna, this is a time when those words that if we don't know our history, history has a tendency to repeat itself. Those words are now so poignant.
They absolutely are. And it's so important as parents when we say lead by example that we understand first as parents what our role and responsibility is so that we can then instill it into our children so they know what they need to do and how they should respond.
Dr. Martin Luther King stood for peace, justice, for what was right. He's been gone for more than 50 years. Today, you're going to break down 6 principles of nonviolence that can be applied today. And I know that you two have had many conversations in your own home about equal rights.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love these principles, so I'll just get right into those because it's so important. So our first principle is nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. Way of life, and that's the thing I want people to understand. This is how we live. It's a choice that we get to make and be courageous about it. Principle number 2 is nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. This is about bringing community together. Derek, one of the things that's so important about honoring this day is us coming together to do things together in our community and working to understand each other. And number 3?
Number 3 is nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding.
Well, number 3 is nonviolence seeks to defeat justice.
There you go.
Defeat injustice and not people. Super important that we work to defeat the things that are going wrong in this world as opposed to defeating each other as people. Majorly important.
And I know you have a few more points here about nonviolence, but if I'm getting you, so essentially what you're saying is with nonviolence, this whole idea that Joe Sam mentioned earlier, just speak to each other, listen to one another, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like as children, we are taught that when there's some sort of conflict, you talk it out. Hitting is not okay. Name calling is not okay. Yet somehow we live in a world where we see adults name calling and hitting and acting out in violent ways.
Exactly. So as adults, again, we are the example. So we lead by example. If we're not doing those things, how can we expect our children to do those things? So that's why it's important for us to understand all of these principles. And even number 4, nonviolence holds that suffering can educate and transform. Our ability to be different and transform from the things that we go through, as opposed to it being something that's divisive. Principle 5, nonviolence chooses love. This is my favorite, instead of hate. Instead of hate. Again, this is a choice that we get to make, Derek. We can choose these things. And the last one is nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice. The side of justice. And we have to understand these principles. If we were living by these right now, Derek, what a different world we will live in. Don't you think, Nia?
Yes.
What
it would
a
be
different
so different.
world.
We wouldn't have all these different issues that we have now.
And Nia, what do you make of what you see on social media or on television? Because I know you've got a really strong mama there, and she talks to you about these things around the dinner table. But it's got to be upsetting and troubling when you see the violence happening in the world. And I'm sure over the past year, as we've seen some very hateful things being said toward, targeted toward people of color.
Right. And I actually have never really paid attention to these types of things. But this year, since it's happened so much and so many devastating events have occurred, that I paid more attention to it. And it's heartbreaking that we're suffering and that we don't get the justice that we deserve.
And as a parent, I just really think we need to do a better job of talking to our kids more about these things. They have a lot to say, Derek. They really do.
And Dr. Lewis, how does this conversation start? Because I'm sure, Nia, I can't believe you're only 11 years old. You sound like you're like in law school, which I'm sure is coming one day. But having these difficult conversations, I'm sure, for many parents can be challenging, because I think it's human nature to want to just sort of avoid being uncomfortable.
I get it, and we could want to avoid it, but it's happening. And so I've created the King's Way for parents to address these things with their kids. And so the K there is keep honesty at the forefront. Tell your kids the truth. They're going to learn about it on social media from other kids. They're going to see these things, but talk to them in the way that they can understand based on their age or where they are. Very important. Tell them the truth. Then you want to invest time with them, parents. Now, this is time that is uninterrupted because our kids are in a world that is unstable. So they need to understand that their home is stable and they're connected to their parents. So this means, mom and dad, no technology. I mean, Nia has said, Mama,
put the phone down.
Put the phone down. I need to talk to you. And so we need to make sure we're connected and they feel safe. And then we want to make sure we nurture them to become change agents. Our children are young, but their voices matter, their opinions matter, and they can be a change. The change they want to see can start with them.
And also, as a child myself, I feel like sometimes when we're not encouraged to talk and encouraged to use our voice, we don't.
Exactly. And then the last piece here is give them hope. Even though we're in a world that looks in a bit of disarray, a lot of disarray, we want our children to know that just because we're here now doesn't mean we have to stay here. And all of these tips, Derek, they can find at
doittthekingway.com.
Nicely done. Nia, 11-year-old Nia, it is so nice to see you here on our TV screens. Dr. Shana D. Lewis, thank you so much for your time. And starting that conversation, I know, is difficult, but perhaps that's the most difficult step. We all need to be discussing equality.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much to you both. We'll see you very soon. And be sure to check out our website to find Dr. Lewis's full guide to help us conduct ourselves in today's world. Still to come, a look at what's coming up on the news at 4. But first, let's check in with Joe Sam once again. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, later in the show, we're going to be having a conversation with the executive director of the Black Heritage Society. You're going to be able to hear what he has to say about today's climate and how Dr. King's message is more important than ever to understand. Houston Life is back in 2 minutes. Welcome back. Today we celebrate Dr. King and his stand for equality and racial justice. I was able to learn how the city of Houston recognizes this day as one of service and appreciation. Sounds of excitement celebrating the leader and civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. filled the streets of Houston for the MLK parade on this day last year, a mission put in place by Dr. King's father.
Daddy King came to Houston and commissioned this organization to hold the first parade to celebrate the legacy of Dr. King in the entire nation.
Executive Director of the Black Heritage Society, Sylvester Brown, talks about how he remembers Dr. King and how the leader made his presence known to many.
His dad would come here in 1978 for that main reason, to tell the city of Houston that Dr. King loved them, and he wanted to make sure that the city and the community realized and understood how important the city of Houston was for Dr. King.
With the spread of protest that has happened fighting for equality and justice for the black lives that have been taken, we're reminded of what Dr. King was fighting for so many years ago.
We have to hold the Constitution responsible, okay, for making America the America that we all look forward to. We'll continue to have the same challenges until we address systematic racism in this country. We're having a huge problem right now, okay, that's all over television, okay, because the root of the problem that I see is systematic racism, white privilege.
And so Dr. King's fight continues in hopes of reaching the day where we are all treated as one.
The equality and justice that Dr. King stood for, he didn't just stand for justice for us and equality for us, but for all people.
Sylvester says if there's one thing he can take away from Dr. King's legacy is that we must all work together to make Dr. King's dream of peace a reality.
We're all in the same boat. We might have came from different places, but we're all in the same boat right now. And I'm pretty sure if Dr. King was alive, he would be saying that as one of his famous quotes. We may have come from different places, but we're all in the same boat now.
Incredible message there. Now, the Black Heritage Society kicked off their day of service at 10 this morning, as well as the 43rd annual virtual MLK Day Parade, which was streamed on the original MLK Day Parade's Facebook page. It'll also continue to be streamed as a recorded version, so you can check it out for yourself. Derek, what an incredible time to show service and appreciation to Dr. King.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Joe Sam. We'll see you in a bit. And still ahead, we'll chat with the hosts of the Gentleman's History Hour podcast about the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and how his influence still holds true in today's world. Welcome back. The figure of Martin Luther King Jr. is so pivotal, it continues to be an important topic of conversation for a local podcast. It's called Gentleman's History Hour and is hosted by Equality and Rob J10X. They join us now to talk more about this remarkable project. Hey there, guys, and this is really cool. So glad to have you here on Houston Life. Talk about the podcast. I understand it's sort of like local barbershop talk, but instead of chatting about sports, you guys chat about really pivotal historical figures.
Yes, that's correct. Gentleman's History Hour is hosted by myself, Equality, and my co-host, Rob J10X. It's produced by Savvy Hugh on the Podden Platformation platform. And the show is to bring context, historical context in and out. So we have casual conversations, just like you would have barbershop talk, but we talk about historical figures, historical events, and just try to shed light on how history is important even in the present time.
And when you mention the present time, essentially you guys are breaking down just the current state of our world, what it's like to be a black person living in America today. Do the conversations get heated sometimes? How does it all play out?
I wouldn't say that they get heated. We try to have a good dialogue that speaks directly to the people. So it's not necessarily a debate show. It's more of a conversational, user-friendly dialogue between us two.
Okay, gotcha. And what should people know about Martin Luther King Jr. that they might not already know? At the top of today's show, we were chatting about how for so many people, you learn about MLK growing up, but it is kind of shocking that his legacy and his message is still so applicable today.
I think the thing that a lot of people should know about Martin Luther King Jr. is the fact that, he was a very reluctant leader. What he was doing was responding to what he thought was just a personal moral call, but it was really a life that he had no wishes for. He really wanted to remove himself from the shadows of his father, who was also a preacher. Really wanted to live, somewhat of a low-key life. And it just so happened that he was called to leadership, in particular during the Montgomery bus boycott. And he just accepted, that calling and, ultimately really kind of sacrificed his own personal vision for his life, for the greater good. And I think it's a life that stands as a message that, if you are called to be a leader or something and to lead people, then I think the morally correct thing to do is to say yes to it, in the way that he did.
Your podcast airs every Thursday, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube at 11 a.m. so people can subscribe. Do you guys break down every week? Is it a different historical figure you focus on each episode?
Yeah, we have different topics, different historical figures. If something that's going on currently has a connection to something that happened in the past, we try to tie that in. So we do research and study every week for different topics.
What message do you think people should take away about Martin Luther King Jr. Today as we commemorate his life and his legacy?
One thing I would say for today is not to look at Martin Luther King as just an I have a dream snapshot that's usually presented around the holiday, but really explore the man, all of the facets of Dr. King. Some people may not know that Dr. King wrote a book called Chaos, Our Community, Where Do We Go From Here, which was written in 1967, a year prior to his untimely demise. And that book really does a great job of breaking down who Martin Luther King was evolving to, past just the I Have a Dream speech.
Well, guys, it's called Gentleman's History Hour, Equality and Rob J. 10X. It sounds really cool, and I think we could all use a bit more of a history lesson, especially considering what we've seen happening in the world over the past year. So thanks so much for your time, and I'll be tuning in.
All right,
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. And to our viewers, for more information about the podcast, you can visit our website, as always, HoustonLife.tv. When we come back, a conversation with Pastor RUDY RASMUS reflecting on the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Houston Life will be right back.
Well, welcome back. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Baptist minister, activist, and prominent leader in the civil rights movement. He was also a writer, penning memorable speeches as well as books.
Dr. RUDY RASMUS, pastor of St. John's downtown, joins us today to share an in-depth look at King's book titled, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? Dr. RUDY, Pastor RUDY, it is great to see you, and we are going to talk about Dr. King's book, his process of writing it, his inspiration. Before we do that, though, just give us an update. It's been a minute since we've seen you. How are you doing? How is your family? And I know you're staying very busy feeding about 2,000 families every week.
Absolutely. So good to be with you both today. It's been a while since we've connected. These last several months have just been crazy. We're still praying and hoping for the end of this pandemic and the effect it's had on billions of people around this country and around the world. We're doing our part at Bread of Life in St. John, still serving about 2,000 families a week right now with life-sustaining food. So things are still moving fast and definitely challenging.
Absolutely. Challenging for sure. That's what I love about you, Pastor Rudy. You always have a smile for us. You always bring it back with a smile and a heartfelt message. And you know a little something about writing a book. So does your wife. Let's talk about Dr. King and an in-depth look at his book. Where do we go from here, chaos or community? And I said this earlier in the show, when we look at the speeches or we look at his writings, if we don't pay attention to the date, sadly, it almost feels like it's present time.
Exactly. And that is that's the paradox. If you read the text in this book, Where Do We Go From Here? It sounds like we are reading it this week. But in actuality, Dr. King wrote this in 1967. He and his wife, Coretta, took a vacation in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, one of the few times in his really the critical points of his ministry where he really moved away from the telephone. Remember, no digital devices back then, and penned this book as a response to the conflict that was occurring in America at that very critical moment in civil rights history.
Sounds like someone's at your garage door. Hopefully everything's okay there, Pastor Rudy. Let's chat a bit about the synopsis of the book, because when Dr. King spoke, he wasn't just advocating for the rights of people of color. He was talking about human rights. And this book has a very hopeful tone.
It does have a hopeful tone. And when you think about his life in a capsule, now we're looking back many years. 1967 was a long time ago. I remember it actually very vividly because in that year, I actually got a chance to see him here in Houston, Texas. I can't remember how old I was in '67, but he came to the Coliseum, which I think now the Hobby Center sits on that same footprint. But I got a chance to see him that one evening with my dad, and it was a unforgettable moment. But in this book, I just wanted to read an excerpt from Where Do We Go From Here? It was originally published by Bantam Press and then picked up by Whip Stock. Another publishing company picked it up later. But in this book, I'm just going to read it. This was King's analysis of the state of America and the moment for justice after a decade of civil rights struggle. He writes, "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. Procrastination is still the thief of time. Life often leaves us standing bare, naked, and dejected with a lost opportunity. This may be mankind's last chance to choose between chaos and community." And I'm saying we're at that same place right now.
We are so eloquently spoken, and the words are just transcending to this year. Pastor Rudy, I have to ask you, what would you have said to those rioters that we just witnessed take over the nation's capital?
Actually, a friend asked me that very same question. What would I say to a group of people who were stuck in racial bias? And these are my words. I said, if I had an opportunity to address them, I would say, "Hey, y'all, first of all, stop. Okay, enough." But then I would say, do you know racism is really rooted in inadequacy and scarcity?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would pause, just like I'm doing right now, and I would look at those both steeped in inadequacy and scarcity, And I would say, you are enough, and there is enough for all of us.
Wow. You always leave us feeling good, Pastor Rudy Rasmus, and I always wish we had more time. So we're going to check in with you a lot more often when you have time for us. And in the meantime,
I always have time.
Well, thank you so much. Give your wife our best, and we'll see you very soon.
Blessings.
Chaos
Same
or
to you, and
community.
congratulations on the new grandbaby.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Yeah, we all have a choice every day. We can choose chaos or community. All right, we will have a link to connect with Pastor Rudy on our website, HoustonLife.tv, and we will be right back.